There you go. All right, Shalom, Lord Christ. As officer of 1,000 Yahweh, teaching a history class. This is I.S.U.P.K started 1 West 125th Street and the commander in Yahanna. All right, and today's topic is the history of Halloween. All right. All right, let's get here. Salakia for starting class late. We had a little couple technical difficulties. All right. Is anybody on the conference call at all? Anybody on the conference call? Shalom, Shalom. Who's on the conference call? No, I think he's talking about the camera, the main camera. It's not working at the moment, so. What's that? Yeah, come. I just let him know. All right. All right, gotta get a blank sheet. All right, who's on the conference call? Hey, I'm gonna need y'all to be quiet up back there, all right? All right, who's on the conference call?
Lucky out of one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I said, me, I shot brought the dog.
That's what that.
Super my, I see all the chicken there.
All right. All right. All right. Hey, Barack, can you check the sound for me real quick? So let me just take this off. Yeah. Maybe that'll make it sound a little better. Check the sound for me real quick. All right. Does it sound better?
It sounds good, man. I mean, from my YouTube.
Okay. All right. Should be too loud now. All right. All right, let's go. History of Halloween, all right? What's everybody know about Halloween? You know, I always like to ask that, right? What does everybody know? 31st. Oh, go ahead. Don't be shy.
It's a day that people dress their children up in costumes to go around different houses.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're going to get into some history of that. That's what everybody think of it as. It's just so, it's harmless. That's another thing. It's harmless, right? But we're gonna learn more about this so-called Halloween, right? All right. Let's do this. Get that for y'all in just 1 second. Okay. Anybody know the original name of Halloween? No thoughts? I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it's called Samhain, Samhain. So that's what it was called, right? It's a pagan religious festival originating from an ancient Celtic spiritual tradition, right? In modern times, Samhain, a Gaelic word pronounced Samhain, that's what I was supposed to say it, is usually celebrated from October 31st to November 1st to welcome in the harvest and usher the dark half of the year. Celebrants believe that the barriers between the physical world and the spiritual world will break down during Samhain, right? Allowing more interaction between humans and denizens of the other world. So, yeah, I think like back in, in probably move this back a little bit. See if I can move it back. So better. All right, so back in like these days, old times, they celebrated all of the different changes of the seasons, right? They celebrated that. But this one, like you had I'll bring it out to you too as well when it came to Christmas, for instance, right? Christmas was the celebration of changing from winter to the spring starting to come. This is the fall. I'm sorry. That's the fall going into the winter. This is the summer going into the fall. You get me? So it's like all the time they're changing the, basically they're changing, when the equinoxes are. So this is one that they just celebrated because, like I said, they felt like this because things are dying now. So this was like a spiritual thing for me. Think the trees start dying. Not the leaves start dying. I guess you would call it. Start falling down. It's like they feel like it was giving them a key to the other world type of thing, right? This is ancient Samhain, right? Ancient Celts mark it do not look like how it sounds, Samhain, as the most significant of the 4 quarterly fire festivals, taking place at the midpoint between the fall equinox and the winter solstice, right? During this time of year, hearth fires in homes were left to burn out while the harvest was gathered, right? After the harvest work was complete, celebrants joined with the Druid priests to light a community fire using a wheel that would cause friction to spark flames, right? It's like anybody ever seen like that those wheels, like you spin it, it makes sparks come out, like we trying to start a fire type of thing. It's like almost like a light. It's like kind of like a lighter. Like how a lighter works. It's the same thing they're talking about. It will cause sparks to come, right? It's like a certain type of metal when you scratch it. It's like I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a certain type of metal. When you scratch it, it produces sparks, right? The wheel was considered a representation of the sun and used along with prayers. Cattle were sacrificed, and participants took a flame from the communal bonfire back to their home to relight the earth. So it was like it's like a celebration that these were all heathens. The Celts. Do anybody know what family the Celts are from? The original Celts.
Family as far as nation, like it come from Ireland.
Not quite.
I'm gonna read it on.
Those were the second Celts. You know how our oppressor is. They take everybody's name. Who's the original Celts?
Israel.
Lie. Nobody else? They were Japhites. Original ones were Japhites. Now, I'm not saying Japhites were the ones that made this. I don't know. It didn't go back into the specific time because you know how they tarnish the history all the time, right? So that one, it's hard to find out which one it really was. Was it Edomites or was it the original Celts. Like the original Celts had color, right? They were the anybody know who the Japhites are today? Go ahead. I know you know.
Of course,
You said the what?
the Hawaiians, Eskimos,
Huh?
the Southern. What they call the people the Hawaii? What they call Samoans?
Samoans, yep. Samoans. The
Those brown people.
yeah, who the people that slay with them dogs and stuff?
The Eskimos.
Eskimos, yeah. That's the those were the original Celts. And of course, when the people, when they came to take over the land, they became them. Just like they do with everybody, right? They don't have a culture like this. Nothing they have is their culture. The only culture they have probably is killing, right? Killing, raping, all of that, right? So I'm just giving y'all this, letting y'all know who the original Celts were. All right, let's see. Early texts present Samhain as a mandatory celebration lasting 3 days and 3 nights, where the community was required to show themselves to local kings or chieftains. Failure to participate was believed to result in punishment from the gods, usually illness or death. So, just like you had a lot of traditions Israelites was in, where they made you, was like you was forced to, do this for the gods or whatever, right? So they force people to celebrate this. Now you celebrate it without even being forced, right? It's part of the tradition. So, all right, let's see here. There was also a military aspect to Samhain in Ireland, with holiday thrones prepared for commanders of soldiers. Anyone who committed a crime used their weapons during the celebration faced a death sentence. So if you commit a crime and you use your weapons during the celebration, you're gonna give a death sentence, right? It's like this was a high holy day for them, right? Some documents mention 6 days of drinking alcohol to excess, typically meat or beer, along with gluttonous feasts. Here's some of the monsters they had, right? Because the Celts believed the barrier between worlds was unbreachable during Samhain. Was breachable during Samhain. They prepared offerings that were left outside villages and fields for fairies or sisters, like other little monsters they had. It was expected the ancestors might cross over during this time as well, and Celts were dressed as animals and monsters so that fairies were not tempted to kidnap them. Sounds like kid stuff, right? So, some specific monsters were associated with the mythology surrounding Samhain, including a shape-shifting creature called a puka, which receives harvest offerings from the field. The Lady Gwen is a headless woman dressed in white who chases night wanderers and was accompanied by a black pig. So you see all this stuff you see wearing the white, wearing you wear like a ghost, wearing like a white sheet, all of those things, right? Accompanied by a black pig. I'll see if I can bring out more on it, but basically a lot of this was a lot of this stuff started, then over time, how traditions change over time. So a lot of this stuff, the reason why we do a lot, we taught a lot of these holidays. Most of the traditions started by artists, right? People that made stories, whatever you want to call it, authors of books, whether it's people that paint pictures on the walls. That's where a lot of the history, that's where you're seeing witches come from. That's where you start seeing goblins and all these other things. It's just people, they expressed their art, and then it became so popular that it was almost like that was the original way it was anyway. Not that you're supposed to celebrate it because the original way, but that's not where it started at, right? Okay, let's see here. The Dullahan sometimes appear as impish creatures, like small creatures, right? Sometimes headless men on horses who carried their heads. Riding flame-eyed horses, their appearance was a death omen to anybody who encountered them. A group of hunters known as the fairy host might also haunt Samhain and kidnap people. Similar are the Sula, who would come from the west into houses and steal souls. So I think this one's gonna talk about it. But this were a lot of other traditions. Like, you know how you go and knock on the door to get a gift or something like that? There was like a soul cake they used to give to people. So like you would get like this little cake, and it was like supposed to, what was it? They supposed to like not let your soul be kidnapped or something like that. I'm gonna get more on it, but it's like they give out different treats and stuff like that. That's where like the trick or treating came from. There was pranks given. They was doing like little tricks on things, and then too they were like begging. That's why it's called like trick or treat. That's begging, in another sense, right? They did a lot of begging. Anybody know why it's called where the word Halloween even come from? You know where that came from? Go ahead.
Hallows Eve.
There you go, Hallows Eve, which means like it's just like Hallows Eve because the actual day is November 1st. So they did Hallows Eve because that was the evening before that, and he did all this. They felt like the midnight Halloween was like the portal to open up so that you can have like a ticket in with the other world or whatever, right? So the actual day is November 1st, but like I said, October 31st was the day before. So, all right. One of the most famous Samhain-related stories is the Adventures of Nero, in which the hero Nero encounters a corpse and fairies and enters another world. Samhain figured into the adventures of mythological Celtic hero Fionn Mac Cumhal when he faced the fire-breathing underworld dweller Aileen, who would burn down the Hall of Tara every Samhain. Samhain also figures into another Fionn Mac Cumhal legend, where the hero is sent to the land beneath the wave, as well as taking place in Samhain. It features descriptions of heroes' holiday gatherings, right? Then, so now we start getting the Middle Ages. I'm gonna break down like all of that jack-o'-lanterns. You know, you seen jack-o'-lanterns, right? I'm gonna learn where that came from. What's the other thing? Jack-o'-lanterns. I got my notes here. Oh yeah, and the boogeyman, right? Y'all heard of the boogeyman, right? All right, this part of it too right here. As the Middle Ages progressed, so did celebrations and the fire festivals. Bonfires known as Samnigans, which is, of course, from shenanigans, right? Which were more personal. Samhain fires nearer the farms became a tradition, purportedly to protect families from fairies and witches. They would like make fires, supposed to like protect them from all the like evil spirits and all of that, right? Carved turnips, called jack-o'-lanterns, began to appear, attached by strings to sticks and embedded with coal. Later Irish traditions switched to pumpkins. So I'm gonna get to the story of jack-o'-lantern. This is it's not funny, but it's like when you get into the truth, all of these are like when you was in, how when you was in the world, right? You thought all of the Bible stories was like fairy tales. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, oh, that's cute or whatever. But you start reading this, you really start looking at these as, like, the people that talk about the Bible, they follow these. Like, no, these are what the fairy tales are, right? But you're going to see all of that. But they go and celebrate it, but they don't want to do a high holy day, right? They don't want to celebrate Passover, where the Most High killed our enemies for us. Go ahead.
Or they try to change it or say what they call the Hallelujah night or something like that at the church.
Oh Lord, I ain't never even heard of that before.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they did when I was coming up in a Christian church. Like we ain't trick or treating, we either having a Hallelujah night in the church. but really,
Good
it's
night.
all, of course, you know, it's all about just celebrating, getting that day in, celebrating. It's still, we all still dressed up like whatever. Can't dress up like
A hallelujah night.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting together and just say hallelujah.
Like, yeah, candy.
All day long.
It's just the twist on instead of going trick and treating. You know, this is made it seem like the Lord had something to do. You know, this is
Yeah. You know why? You know why Christians do that, right? Anybody know why Christians do that? Nobody had no idea.
I got an idea.
Oh yeah.
It's just try to substitute it with the real Halloween.
Yeah, but why do they like? We don't do none of that here, right?
Oh,
why is that? Why do they do it and we don't?
It's like, okay, I know what you're saying.
But focus more on no. We know why we don't.
Because Constantine, you know how they all changed they all changed. They just, you know, when they back in the day when they mixed all the pagan holidays with Christianity. That's why they still just like Christmas and everything else. It's just everybody getting that day into Halloween.
Exactly. That's the root of Christianity. Christianity is not. The Bible is not the root of Christianity. Y'all get that?
Come.
It's not the root. It's never been the root. The Bible is not the root of anything except for the I.S.U.P.K, right? Ain't the root of nothing else. But they root is this. This is they root. This, Christmas, right? Easter or Astar, right? Theirs is, bunny rabbits laying eggs. This is their history. This is their religion. It's not the Bible. The Bible was just, when they took all of those together, now they can clean it with the Bible and say, okay, we come with the Bible. So they basically, Christianity is like 30,000 religions put into one, basically. Just like one time I was watching a documentary, right? They had they was looking at this building that they made, right? And the building that they had, it had like certain part of the columns was from from Egypt. Another part of the columns was from Greece. Another part was from Roman. Another part was from Ethiopian. They take everything and they mix it into one, right? Yeah, Constantine, he was a black man that did it, but his whole root of what he did wasn't nothing new. It was something that his people that was over him trying to do anyway. He just was the one that came up with the idea at the time to do it, right? Or he's the one that, he might not even, because like with history, you don't know who actually does anything. He's just the one that had the power to do it. You get what I'm saying? It may not even have been him that did it. He just had the power to do it. You get what I'm saying? Like y'all know that whenever y'all say of the Lord, right? You know the Most High ain't talking. Y'all get that? He's sending his angels to talk to you. He's not talking to you. But you got people that come in his power, in his name, that can have you do stuff, or he got an idea from somebody else. But I'm just telling you, that's just how history is. You can't know exactly you do. You only know who the person is that put his stamp of approval, that pushed it. You get what I'm saying? So the only place you really see a lot of that is the Bible, because it tells you all of the stories, what happened behind the scenes that you may not know. But a lot of these histories, they're not going to tell you. But I'm just saying that to say that, you don't know what really, really, really happened. You just know that Constantine gave his stamp of approval, right, for that to happen. So when all of that, they mixed all these religions together. They mixed some of, like what they were doing in Celts, because like people think of the Roman Empire, they think of it as being one strong empire, right? The Roman Empire was not, they didn't all follow the same gods, for instance, right? Like, you know how you got Baptist Christians, you got non-denominational, you got Pentecostal, you got Seventh-day Adventists, you got all these different ones. That's how Rome was. So you had Rome, they might have been more Pentecostal on this side, more Baptist on this side, more Presbyterian on this side, whatever the case is. And that's how Rome was. They served different parts of God or their gods, right? And that's how, in order to unite it, because they couldn't come together because they were serving different gods. So he said, okay, they seen the Bible and they was like, okay, the Bible had rules and laws. Let's put it with the Bible, but then let's let you keep your influence in. So then now we can, we have the instruction of the Bible, but you still able to still be a heathen. You can still do what you want to do. But now we got a central belief. You know what I'm saying? So that now we can all be unified. That was the point of the Council of Nicaea, which is what Constantine, when he mixed all of the religions together, right? That was the point of all of that. All right, so let's see here. Okay, in Wales, men tossed burning wood at each other in violent games and set off fireworks. In northern England, men paraded with noisemakers, right? Let me get some more on some of these for y'all. Dumb supper. The tradition of dumb supper began during this time, in which food was consumed by celebrants, but only after inviting ancestors to join in, giving the families a chance to interact with the spirits until they left following dinner. Children would play games to entertain the dead, while adults would update the dead on the past year's news. That night, doors and windows might be left open for the dead to come in and eat cakes that had been left for them. As Christianity gained foothold in pagan communities, church leaders attempted to reframe Samhain as a Christian celebration. So the first attempt was by Pope Boniface in the 5th century. He moved the celebration to May 13th and specified it as a day celebrating saints and martyrs. So now this is like what you would say Memorial Day. They're doing this to celebrate saints and martyrs, right? The fire festivals of October and November, however, did not end with this decree. So they still were doing the same fire festivals so it was like an unsuccessful attempt. They try to do it in May. They try to say, okay, we trying, because they were trying, I guess, like how oppressors do. They try to act like they're trying to follow God, but they're really not. But they're trying to say, okay, we following better, but so they made all these different, they made it to May to try to say that, but then everybody else, they said, nah, we just gonna keep doing what we doing. So then in the 9th century, Pope Gregory moved the celebration back to the time of the fire festivals, but declared it All Saints Day. So now they mixing it again. Now it's All Saints Day, right? That's what hallow mean, like you're special, hallowed, right? All Hallows Eve, or this evening before you honor the hallowed, right? All Saints Day, and All Souls Day would be, that's what November 1st. All Souls Day would be on November 2nd, right? Now Samhain emerges with Halloween. Neither new holiday did away with the pagan aspects of the celebration. October 31st became all known as All Hallows Eve or Halloween, and contained much of the traditional pagan practices before being adopted in 19th century America through Irish immigrants bringing their traditions across the ocean. So a lot of it came from the Irish. A lot of the traditions came from the Irish. You get me? Irish, but like I said, those were the Celts, Irish people. But before they were, of course, Japhites, but they got taken over and killed. And so those people that lived on that started living on the land became them, right? And those were the people that are the Celtics or the Irish, same ones, right? Trick-or-treating is said to have been derived from ancient Irish and Scottish practices in the nights leading up to Samhain. In Ireland, mumming was the practice of putting on costumes, going door to door and singing songs to the dead. Cakes were given as payment. That's why they were given cakes. So you would go knocking door to door to, the ask for something, they would give you soul cakes, right? Halloween pranks also have a tradition of Samhain, though in the ancient celebration, tricks were typically blamed on the fairies. So they would do tricks on each other. Like y'all heard of like mischief night, right? So there was mischief nights in like all different places. So I forget they called the other place, but I know it is mischief night. That's where everybody does something the day before Halloween, right? They would go and do pranks on people. But then they would blame, when it happened, they would blame it on the fairies that was coming. So, yeah. Right? Let's see here. I'm going to get into these jack-o'-lanterns. Okay. Right, it's a carved pumpkin, right? But, it was originally a turnip. They would hollow out a turnip, and that was what they used to use for jack-o'-lantern, right? Let's see here. I'm trying to get a story of Jack. Okay. Here it goes. This is the story of the jack-o'-lantern, right? So, in Switzerland, they will leave a bowl of cream of milk or cream out for mythical house spirits called the Jack o' the Bowl. An oldish folktale from the mid-18th century tells of Stingy Jack, a lazy yet shrewd blacksmith who uses a cross to trap Satan. One story says that Jack tricked Satan into climbing an apple tree, and once he was up there, Jack quickly placed crosses around the trunk or carved a cross into the bark so that Satan couldn't get down. Right? So all this, stuff, they say that crosses right here can stop Satan and all this stuff, right? Do y'all think Satan can be stopped by a cross? Lie, right? Because Satan works for the Most High, right? He can't be stopped by a cross. The cross ain't gonna do nothing. So this is a story that they say what happens, right? Here's another one. He was getting chased with some villagers from whom he had stolen. He then met Satan, who claimed it was time for him to die. However, the thief stalled his death by tempting Satan with a chance to be devil, the church-going villagers chasing him. Jack told Satan to turn into a coin at which he would pay for the stolen goods. Satan could take ownership if he wanted. Later, when the coin Satan disappeared, the Christian villagers would fight over who had stolen it. The devil agreed to the plan. He turned himself into a silver coin and jumped into Jack's wallet, only to find himself next to a cross Jack had also picked up in the village. Jack closed the wallet tight, and the cross stripped the devil of his powers, and so he was trapped, right? So, in both of these folktales, Jack let Satan go only if he agrees never to take his soul. Many years later, the thief died, as all living things do, of course. Jack's life had been too sinful for him to go to heaven. However, Satan had promised not to take his soul. So he was then barred from hell as well. So he was worse than Satan. He was more trickery than Satan, right? So now he can't go to heaven or hell. So Jack now had nowhere to go. He asked how he would see where to go, as he had no light, and Satan mockingly tossed him a burning coal to light his way. Jack carved out one of the tulips, which was his favorite food, and put the coal inside it, and began endlessly wandering the earth for a resting place. He became known as the Jack of the Lantern, or Jack-o'-lantern. So it was like an ember or coal he had got put into a turnip, and that's why he walked around like this, looking for somewhere to go. So that's where jack-o'-lanterns came from. All right? Anybody got any questions at all? No questions on anything? Go ahead.
The Halloween,
Hold on 1 second.
but the Halloween, the winter solstice, all that tie in together. But the people don't know actually celebrating Christmas is like a higher satanic day on Halloween.
Yeah, it actually is because they did like they cleaned up Christmas a lot, but Christmas they used to like kidnap kids, orgies with children, all types of things. Like I'll get into that in class, but there was a sinister history of why they had kids sitting on grown men's laps. I'll just leave it at that. Go ahead. Somebody on the conference call? Starts with the. Okay, sound good. All right. Okay. This is where I want to start at. Okay. Like, a lot of folk stories and stuff like that was told to keep children in line, right? That's where the story of the boogeyman came from, right? It was really pronounced bogey, right? That's what it was. So now it became the boogeyman, or the boogeyman, right? The word boogeyman came from word bogey, which means hobgoblin in modern English. And the legend surrounding it may have originated in Scotland, although it's not totally clear. There are reported references made to the boogeyman as monster as early as the 1500s, though it's suspected that the concept already existed in folklore long before that. It's nearly impossible, though, to pin down the monster's exact origins, because the boogeyman has such a large global impact. It is difficult to determine which country had told the first tales of this monster. And so one thing is for certain, the boogeyman loves to lurk in the shadows of the night, and the main victims are disobedient children who don't listen to their parents, right? While the original boogeyman is to be as difficult to define as who the monster is today, the mythology surrounding it is consistent cross-culturally, right? I got some people signing in. All right. While the original boogeyman proves to be as difficult to find as who the monster is today, the mythology surrounding it is consistent cross-culturally. The boogeyman is there to ensure that we follow the rules. It's shapeless, so it could be anywhere, anytime, whether that means lurking under the bed or in the closet behind a tree in the forest. What's both fascinating and terrifying about the boogeyman is that it has no defined, agreed-upon appearance. While everyone knows the term, no one has a clear idea what it actually looks like, which sets it apart from other mythical monsters who are generally defined by physical traits. This means that the boogeyman, while typically thought of as masculine, could take on any or no gender. It can live in your house or at a friend's house. It can walk through walls or hide in the closet. As the House of Monsters put it, a boogeyman is just a formless personification of terror. It can be anything the fear in your mind makes it out to be. While the boogeyman's main thing is terrorizing children, it apparently does so in many different ways. Depending on the culture, in America, the myth typically has the monster lurking under the beds and closets. Hold on a second. So it just basically was just something that made to keep kids in line. They would say that there was bogeys you know, they had fences or whatever, right? Because they didn't want the kids to try to sneak out. They started really saying it around Halloween time, right? Because they didn't want their kids to go out and do mischief. So they would say it was Boogeyman was outside, and they would say he's by the fence. So they didn't go and leave the house. They were scared of the Boogeyman. So that's where a lot of these stories, like, it's just fairy tales, right? But they try to say the Bible is a fairy tale. But everything that you've been following your whole life is what the real fairy tales is. All right. See here. Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to say real quick, this topic is very heavy for me, especially when you talked about the part about how they're basically washing this stuff with the Bible. Because like growing up in Christianity, we were always, well, the pastor had made me believe that actually, like, you know, like Easter, Christmas, they were actually holidays that were a part of the Bible, and that the world was the one that was transitioning into like pagan holidays. So it's
And they flipped it on us when they just took it from there. Because like I said, how do you you know, like, when you want to unify people, there's certain things you do, right? Like if you want to unify two different nations, what do you do when you unify two different nations? Anybody know?
What was your question?
How do you unify two different nations?
So I can have them on, have them under one belief.
Huh? That's one way, but that's another way. Probably the more popular way. It's in Genesis 6. I'm giving you a hint. You obviously, you know, I know you know. What's Genesis 6 talking about?
With the men, that's what the angels came down and right. I can't get the correlation on that.
All right, give me Genesis 6 for me then.
Sons of man, the sons of God. I know what you're talking about.
So we sleeping on Barack now. Barack know what he's talking about. You know where we at. He just don't know exactly how I'm using it to bring it up. All right.
Genesis 6.
Go to read the first verse.
Genesis 6 verse 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto men, that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
Y'all get it now? Y'all got to read verse 4. Y'all get it yet? Go to verse 4 then.
Genesis 6 verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days.
What does giant mean?
It's like your stars. You know, somebody that's big on earth, like somebody that's popular, like celebrity.
Exactly. Keep going.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
Y'all get that now? Y'all understand it? I still don't get what I mean. This how you unify nations. Y'all still don't get it? I see y'all heads burning. There's steam coming out y'all ears right now. You want me to tell you? How you unify two nations is, what you do is you give one of your daughters to one of their princes. And then, like a king, they will take his daughter, give it to one of their prince, And when they get married, that child is a representation of both nations. So now they grow big on the earth. So now it's not the Persians, or the Medes, the Persians and the Medes. You get it? They put their kingdoms together. And so that's how they do things. They wanted to unify the nations, but Rome was already Rome. But they was on the same accord because they didn't believe the same things. You get it? So now when you unify them, you have this giant in earth, which is somebody that's known. Everybody knows who they are, right? Look at what's the old girl name that's Meghan Markle, right? She married to that prince, right? And they loving that, especially black women. They loving that, ain't they? Don't look, they ain't, you know, her daddy is a devil, but she don't even look black. Ain't trying to be black. I ain't never said she was black. I ain't never heard nothing. But they're trying to make her into now she's a black princess. When she's not a black princess. I at least got respect for that one, that Haitian and with a Asian chick. That's the she play tennis, and she won't let you forget her daddy is Haitian. She won't let you forget what her daddy is. But I ain't never heard her say nothing about her being Jamaican or her mother being Jamaican, and I ain't never heard nothing about it. Don't even look Jamaican. She probably adopted her. So, but now she's like a giant. Now, when they have children, they gonna think of that as being higher than anything else. You get what I'm saying? Because they united those nations. That's another thing. Like Obama, he was able to do more things in Africa because his father is Kenyan. Get the correlations now? He comes and say, yeah, I'm one of you. And now, but even though his alliance was somewhere else. But in Israel, we was always taught if your alliances was with them, we taught you aside too. We the only nation that was taught that. And this is why, because the Bible says you're not supposed to mix in with other nations. The other nations, they don't have that law. Get it? All right. Okay. Let's get, anybody know any other traditions? Y'all probably never even did this one. Y'all heard of it. I heard y'all know about this one. Well, can y'all give me one? Give me another example of tradition y'all do on Halloween. Not that y'all do now, but y'all have heard of, I guess. I ain't trying to make y'all out to be sinners. Go ahead. There you go. I was just about to talk about it, so you read my mind. Here we go. All right, when the Romans swooped in on the Celts around 43 AD, a mixture of festivals ensued. Samhain combined with the Roman holiday of Feralia, a day in late October that also honored the dead, and the day dedicated to the Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. Pomona's symbol, guess what it is? What's her symbol? There you go, sis. An apple. Right? It's an apple. As a result, this is the likely source of the tradition of bobbing for apples on Halloween. That's the source of it. At some Halloween parties, the first successful apple bobber will supposedly be the next person in the room to wear it. Numerous superstitions sprouted around this, considering the predictive nature of this special fruit. If you got the apple on the first try, you will find true love. However, if it took several tries, you will be fickle in love. Some young women will also have place an apple under their pillow in order to reveal their future husband in their dreams. They're gonna find out they're gonna put an apple under there. All right, hope it's right on the behind. But they're gonna put an apple under there, right? Now here's trick or treat, right? Did y'all ever trick or treat before? Yeah, I did. I mean, I never did personally because, like, I don't know. I never was like that big into candy for one. Another thing is I was raised Christian, so they didn't do it. They always took us to church. So I never actually did go trick-or-treating. And then, too, like, my mom was scared to death of them. You know, they was like, you know, at one point in where I'm from, they was poisoning kids. It was like, there was stories coming all out. They was putting poison inside of them candy some type of way and sealing it back up. So it was like, nah, I ain't even want to try it, honestly. So there was too many stories of that going on. I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro. They was putting razor blades inside of it and all. It was all kind of stories when I was growing up. I'm just not remembering all of this. You know what I'm saying? But it was all type of stories. So they used to say like, it was like a story saying you got to go on this side of town to go trick or treat, and not on this side because they might poison you over here. And then it was also like you got to go to the more pickety fancy neighborhood.
Suburban.
Yeah, there you go. I can't really say where I'm from, suburban. We was all in the suburbs too, so I can't even say that. I'm talking about like you had to go to the other suburban. What's going on now?
It's like I said, we're still hearing about that because I know where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? We already still about the train tracks, literally. But still to this day, you know what I'm saying? Like they like us, the black people down there, they would go to the white neighborhood to go trick or treat. Like I don't know what to do with that, but they prefer that. Like they don't even consider, you know what I'm saying, man amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? But they will go to the white neighborhood and just trick or treat all day long. So it's like,
Well, yeah, that's like because like with us being like black people, like here's the difference. If y'all notice something, that's how you know we spiritually Israelites. If y'all ever notice something, we celebrate these holidays, but we don't celebrate them like the oppressor celebrates them. You know what I'm saying? Our celebrations is almost biblical, just on the wrong day. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like 4th of July, we don't go around wearing red, white, and blue like that. We don't go around wearing flags. What we do? We eat. You know what I'm saying? We have a feast day. You get what I'm saying? That's how you can tell, like, we spiritually Israelites, too. Like, it's in our spirit to be Israelites. We don't get involved like that. Like I ain't never bowed for no damn apples. I ain't never did it. I'm just being for real. But like, did we dress up in costumes? Yeah, we did that part. But I ain't never go like. But if you go to our oppressor, they follow all the traditions, all of them. We just want to get together and eat and talk, laugh, drink, which is what we do on the feast day anyway. So that's one way you can tell that we are the Israelites, because we still do the same thing in spirit, just on the wrong day. Now, of course, we in the spirit of the holidays. That's why it's unlawful to do do y'all know it's not unlawful to wear a costume? Y'all get that? For you to be Batman, it's not unlawful for your kids to be Batman. It's not unlawful for them to be a witch. None of these things are unlawful. What makes it unlawful? Do y'all know what makes these things unlawful?
Right.
Go ahead.
It's unlawful when you dress up on that particular day.
But what's the key point of doing it on that day?
Celebrate the celebratory acts.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's the word I'm looking for.
just like that.
Go ahead.
Is it paganism? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like worship of the God or something?
No, it's not it. It's not it. There's one word that y'all missing. What's the difference between you doing it, you dressing up in a costume right now, or you dressing up on the 31st of October?
Like that one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Is it because the spirit of it?
Exactly, the brother hand. The spirit of it. You're in the spirit of Halloween. You could dress up right now on Halloween and have a good time. We can have a party where everybody dresses up here in the school, right? They can do all of that. But there's like we can more than likely we won't do it because we more like adults here, you know what I'm saying, in the school. But it's not unlawful for like I'm not saying that some brothers won't. Some brothers will, but I'm saying like we probably be more chill on it. But like our children will probably participate in that more, and there's nothing unlawful with that. It's the spirit of Halloween that makes it unlawful. So don't be scared. Let your kids go to a costume party. None of that is unlawful. You can eat turkey any day. Don't eat it on Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So you know how like the schools and stuff like they have like those little spirit weeks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like is it a sin to let the kids participate in there?
No, it's not a sin. Let them participate in Spirit Week.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just don't let them go on no red, white, and blue, no flag stuff, because that's idolatry. Because you split it. What does the Pledge of Allegiance say? I pledge allegiance to the what? So even he know that. He 8. We never said the Pledge of Allegiance not one time on our, and he knows it, right? Pledge allegiance to the flag. That's idolatry. Y'all get that? All right, what time is it? 8:34. All right. Today, Halloween spurs 25% of overall candy in our United States. So all the candy, most of the candy they sell all year comes on Halloween, right? They're responsible for 90% of the cavities everybody get every year, right? Children checking from door to door in search of candy is a predominantly modern American tradition. Although trick-or-treating is less popular in European countries, therein lies the secret to how this Halloween tradition started. Celtic folklore believed that some spirits transformed into human form. They often did so as a beggar, to ask for money or food. Turning away the spirit will curse you eternally. So they said spirits will come as a beggar, asking for something, right? All Saints' Day in England provides another source of this Halloween tradition. On this day, poor citizens beg families for food and receive pastries known as soul cakes in exchange for praying for a family's deceased relatives. The church encouraged souling, the act of giving soul cakes, to replace the tradition of leaving out food and wine for roaming spirits. Eventually, children joined in by visiting their neighbors to ask for ale, food, and money. English and the Irish immigrants revived the practice after moving to the United States. This piece of Halloween history continually gained popularity in the United States today, and around 40 million trick-or-treaters join a candy-filled fun. So that's why you hear, what do they call America? The Great Melting Pot. So even places where they don't even do this in Europe no more, where it came from. They don't even do it in Europe, but they do it here in America because it's the melting pot. This is Greek. This is Rome. It's Greece, Rome, Egypt. What else? All these cultures in one. African, Asian, all in one culture, right? Now here's the other thing: the Halloween costumes. They also got these origins, like back to the Celtics, right? Europeans. During the Samhain bonfire, communities burned crops and animal sacrifices. They also wore morbid costumes such as animal heads or skins to scare spirits. Some say the bonfires attracted rodents and bats. Now these animals are symbols of Halloween. Others believe that if you were outside on the day ghosts return to the living world, you might encounter a roaming spirit. People avoided this by dressing up to trick the spirits. Halloween's typical color scheme, orange and black, arose out of these autumn festivals. Orange represented crops turning leaves, while black represented death and transition to winter. So, like, just to tell you, like, do you think you can scare a ghost? What you do, scare him to death? You already dead. You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do? You gonna scare a ghost? You gonna scare a spirit? So it's just like I said, these are childlike behaviors, right? Trying to scare spirits. Halloween history turned towards commercialization in 1900s. Around this time, companies produced them themed postcards and paper decorations. Now what happens? Now there's money involved. So they ain't gonna let Halloween go, because why not? Why? There's money involved. You know, one thing, like, for my business I have, right? I used to have like a one of those emailing things that you send out emails. You know, you get emails for things you like sign up for or whatever, and you gonna get them on Halloween, right? You gonna get the Halloween. Well, come and check out our Halloween sale, right? You gonna get that. You got them for all the holidays. It's commercialized. They're not gonna let it go because it's money involved now. So you got that. You got the costumes. You know, people that that make costumes got to get paid. Candy stores got to get paid. Who else? What else you do? Apple stores, jack-o'-lanterns, Apple stores. Shut up. It's like, where they make apples, they got to get it. You talking about Apple? You talking about what you talking about?
You just said Apple stores.
What's going on now? How can I help you? Mark, what up?
Oh, yeah, come class. It's like, do they even go into explain that, like, they have haunted houses, like that?
Yeah, it's commercialized. So that's another thing. They got haunted houses, right? Your favorite. They got haunted houses. It becomes more of a, like I said, it's commercialized. There's a big haunted house, like, right by our house in Norcross, right over there. Big haunted house. They had, like, it's a whole building. They rent it out every year. They probably make so much money, they don't even have to have it the rest of the year open. Go ahead.
The biggest thing, even being grew up in trick-or-treating, to Halloween, but you're not in the truth, you for sure going to a Halloween party, and that's when the women kind of dress up. That's when they hit social media with all the outfits. Be a big hit for a lot of people. Even the men, they get money, look exactly like what they're trying to look like.
Oh yeah, and that's how, like, also,
that's the biggest thing.
And also, like, that's how it got, like, then of course, you got artists, you got the devil artists. They start sexualizing Halloween. First, witches, y'all know back in the days, witches was scary looking, right? They had warts and all this. Now you got the Charm Sisters, right? Y'all like y'all know what I'm talking about, huh? Yeah, all of this stuff, right? I mean, they devils, but they not warded up, looking evil. You got Sabrina the Teenage Witch, right? They not scary looking no more, right? They started sexualizing it, making it like. I'm not saying like. During that time, they didn't sexualize things as bad, but I'm saying, like, they started becoming more, like, attractive and not old women with warts and blisters and looking crazy looking. They changed that, and they made that so it could be more acceptable. And that's what, like, artists did. They started drawing pictures of, like, oh, this is a sexy witch, right? So now it can be, okay, well, it ain't bad being a witch now. You're going to have the women trying to be a witch now and dressing up like a witch.
Like, that's real heavy. I hope nobody here watching it because the so-called black woman, of course not a sister of the truth, so-called black woman, they making it. They may leave Christianity, but they making that black and white magic. They making that their religion now.
Oh yeah.
I be seeing that at the job. They be doing little readings and I'm against them. They be acting like I'm just tripping.
Yeah, tarot cards.
Like,
yeah.
What's the big deal? I'm like,
yeah, they not even like they didn't made it so acceptable. Like I remember back when I was younger. I mean, like nobody would say they was like into Wicca. They would never say that. They would never say I'm into. You might have known somebody. It was rare to know somebody that did roots or whatever. You didn't know it like that. It wasn't like now. You throw a rock, you hit 3 or 4 people saying they a witch, like full out trying to be into it, right? Yeah, they got a whole Bible, all that. So it's just they made it more acceptable. That's the same way they did then. So now people try to be a witch, and then trying to catch witches were like a popular thing. Like I heard of the Salem witch trials and all of this stuff. Trying to catch a witch became popular, trying to find one. Which y'all know what a witch is today, right? Go ahead. Yep, drug dealers. Yep, those the witches. Yep, and they try to put it like in a cauldron. Well, that's everybody. Everybody had cauldrons. That was your bowl, right? You know the bowl you put on the sink. You make ramen noodles with. Yeah, that's a cauldron. Let me let y'all know what I'm talking about. Cause a cauldron. Go ahead.
When I learned it, I connected it quick to the old cartoons like Smurf. They used to have the witches and stuff, and with all the herbs, and they be mixing it up. And, all the witches had it back in the day. But when you think about it, herbs are good for you, but when you misuse them, that's when it becomes sorcery and all that. And that's what we have, cocaine and all that stuff today.
Okay, that's what the drugs are. They mixing a potion, right? Mixing a potion. And then they're gonna give you this drug that make you see things you ain't even know was there. You think they trippy. No, they seeing demons. Y'all, they really seeing demons. That's what they seeing. They not like people think they just hallucinate. No, they seeing demons. That's the truth. That's why they going crazy. They know they seen a demon. I remember somebody said they got so high they seen blue leprechauns. They were seeing blue leprechauns. So they really are seeing these things. So that's what it is. It's a potion they're making. Like when you mix weed up with a embalming fluid, right? That make you just go crazy. These things you're not supposed to have in your body. That's why they don't put embalming fluid until you dead. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, because just like marijuana has, cannabis has 300 uses of you can make they can substitute plastic, you can make shoes and all. They got 300 uses of it, but it is that one use that's unlawful, just like the witches was going back in the day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or even the poppy seeds and all. There's a lot of stuff that you'll be surprised what type of plants that they remix them, and it's a whole other deal. But the whole time you can make clothes and everything.
Yeah. So all it is just changed around religions and put into one. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what else I wanted to bring out real quick. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, is witchcraft, is that a real thing?
Kinda, it's a real thing. It's just not how it's been televised and commercialized. Witchcraft is drug dealers. How do you make crack cocaine? How do you make, meth is witchcraft. Like at least like the rest of the drugs is, some kind of organic, right? Like, cocaine is organic. What's that?
I guess what I was trying to say, you know how people say that they can put a spell on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know how now you got some people that say they can put a spell on somebody and make them do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Okay.
try to kill them, or you know what? Like, is that even a real thing?
Yeah, those are called roots, but here's the thing that was different. They didn't like when they would say like doing certain little things, like getting like a creature or whatever that looked like them, stabbing that. From what I know of that, what I've been taught in classes that that's not true. But what I've been told was that what they would do a lot of times, they would slip this person a potion of something. Because there's potions like, when like, when you like fall in love with somebody, do you know that's like chemicals released in your brain that makes you do that, right? Like dopamine is one of them. So you make a potion that's high in certain things, because there's all the things that we have in our body chemically, you can be found inside of plants, right? You make dopamine or make it so that your body releases dopamine. Now all of a sudden it makes you more attractive. Like being around that person is more enjoyable, right? Like there's couples, they can't be around each other unless they drunk or high. Y'all heard of this, right? Because they have to have their dopamine receptors so high that that's the only time they can be around each other. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, like, you know how some people be like, I take his left shoe, or I pluck the hair out of his head and, put it up under my bed, something like that.
Now, what I was told, that part isn't true. That's why I said it was more so with potions they would give people.
Hey, I get one.
Go ahead.
Okay. I remember him one time brought up in the class, they're coming out of witchcraft, like doing stuff like that. They were going into that. It's like with the Haitians, like if it was like the witchcraft and the voodoo was real, then you know what I'm saying. Why the Haitians going through so much oppression and
There you go.
so much stuff. And I'm just paraphrasing. I remember brought up similar to that. You know what I'm saying, like showing that it ain't real, because if it was, then why the Haitians going through so much hell right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
They got, how come all of the people that they do all these things, they in hell, right? We try to be roots. We in hell. You would think we would have the roots to get us out of here, right? That's a good point, but that's the reason why, that's how you know it's not true. So all these things, they were literally potions. Like I said, you can give somebody a potion to make them act crazy. There's things you can give to somebody that it would make them seem like they having a heart attack, or it seem like their whole body is dead. You can't even detect the heartbeat, right? And then they wake up hours later. There's things you can give to people that do that. So they saying they would get like snails or whatever. No, they would get like there's a creature, I think it is C, the chemical he has would actually make you paralyzed. You can't move. And so you would think the person is dead, but then they wake up hours later. They have all of these, right? Just like how what's that animal that eats snakes? I know that animal I'm talking about?
a mongoose.
Mongoose. He has something in his body to make him so that when a python or something bite him, like how he fights it, he goes into a whole coma. He can't move while his body is resisting the poison, the venom. So there's things like, I'm not saying that's one, I'm just giving you like an example. They would learn stuff that animals do, and they would take parts of their body. They'll study the animals, take parts of their body that has those things, and they would make it so that, make a potion so that it makes you hallucinate. It's like you could take mushrooms and you lose your mind. They know that certain mushrooms do certain things. That's all it is. It's the same thing, all right?
Hey, it's like you, sir.
Go ahead.
On the witchcraft part, right? Is it safe to say, like, even with the witchcraft, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, with so-called black Hispanic and If somebody tell you, or somebody got voodoo or witchcraft on you, you know what I'm saying? Like the I.S.U.P.K been telling you in hell. You just didn't notice it until somebody told you you had witchcraft done on you. You get what I'm saying? It's just safe to bring that up.
Yeah, you can say like a lot of stuff. You think you've been possessed. You think something happened. It's all in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Your mind is very powerful. So you think that you getting cursed because, something going on in your mind. But a lot of times what's behind the scenes is like when people actually get hurt or whatever, you can give stuff to people. Like you can give somebody cancer. You can give them things to make them get cancer. You know what I'm saying? You can do all these different things. I'm not saying I know what it is. I'm just saying I know there's things you can do to make people sick. You can give, certain things to people and they never know what will happen. So, All right, let's get a few scriptures out real quick. But a lot of times you think that, somebody, if not, they tell you that you got a root on you. Now that's why you think that, that's why you done lost your mind. But then they don't say, like a lot of times, they give you another potion to counteract that potion. So that's where that comes from. So, all right.
Hey, it's like it.
Go ahead.
Hey, this spoke on the Christian church, right? It just say like the Christian church really be celebrating Halloween inside the church, right? They just try to mask it. Cause I know, like when I was growing up, I was like you too. Like you know what I'm saying? Like my folks didn't really just deal with like doing it. You know what I mean? All that like that. We would just go to church, man. It wouldn't make no difference. Cause we still getting candy. We still getting all that stuff from the church. You feel what I'm saying? Those things, yeah, we ain't just out there knocking on people's doors with the same stuff they did on the street we did in church. It's like it, man.
Okay, exactly. So they still getting all the stuff they had, church and all of that, right? All right. Can you give me Amos 6:3 for me? I'm gonna let Barack. Can you get that for me?
All right, Amos 6. Is it 3:6?
6 and 3.
6 and 3. Amos 6, verse 3. Ye that put far away the evil day and cause the seat of violence to come near.
Yeah, you're supposed to put away that evil day. This evil day is Halloween, right? So then when you put it away, like you start going away from all of these customs, people want to act violently towards you now because you don't want to act like they are. Like when Israelites tried to get away from all of these things, now they wanted to try to kill the Israelites. They think you better? Ain't that what you've been told before? You've heard before? Like you think you better? Like I grew up eating pork chops. What was you too good to eat pork chop? And you like you are too good to eat pork chop, and so is your mother. But they don't understand that you just trying to serve the Lord, right? All right. Now give me 2 Kings 17 and 17.
2 Kings 17, verse 17. That they cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire.
Okay. Anybody know what this is talking about? Go ahead.
Child sacrifice.
Go through the fire. Like there was things, they had rituals where you had children that go through the fire. They sacrificed children and all of these things, right? Some of these were in Halloween too. They sacrificed children. They made their children. Like when you let your children go through Halloween and do, trick or treat and all of that, you are sacrificing your children to serve this God. You basically, I know every time somebody think of as sacrifice as in they're dying, but no, you didn't kill them carnally, but you killed their spirit. Right? You just think about what you got them doing. You got them going around asking strangers for candy. And they're giving this candy. What you think that does to a child's psyche? They want to go, you got girls, right? They go up to strangers, men and women. They feel like they can get it just by asking, right? For candy. So now they say it's just for the children. You putting your children through the fire. They say it's just for the children. You let the children have fun, but you letting your children grow up. For one, like they said, they can poison kids. You don't know what the candy's been laced with or whatever you call it. They could have used some of them posters on the candy. You don't know that. Put razor blades in it. All these types of things, right? You letting your children pass through the fire when you do that. You putting them in an unsafe place to do this, and now you're letting them think it's okay. Like you tell your kids not to talk to strangers, right? Why do you tell them that? Because you don't want them to get kidnapped, right? Now you got them walking up to knocking on their door asking for candy. What's the number one way people take kids? What do they use to get kids? Candy. So now you just telling them, no, it's okay. What you tell them, don't talk to strangers unless they got candy. Y'all get that?
Right, come on.
So now when they see candy, trick or treat, they getting it, right?
Hey, like you say.
Go ahead.
Hey, yeah, listen to hear about that shit. The things that seem like you know what I mean. Look at all the you know what I'm saying. Like the little kid never do. You know what I'm saying? I mean the people that be doing stuff like that. You know how to use the ice cream truck and stuff like that. And just laundering. You know what I'm saying? Like the little babies and stuff like that. Sort of like.
Yeah, and that's what they use. Like a lot of other places they did ice cream. Another way they kidnap kids. So they just use things that taste sweet for kids. You know that's what kids want to eat. So all right, keep reading for me.
So like the 2 Kings 17:17, and use divination and enchantments.
Divination, divinity, like saying this is God's. You serve it. Enchantments, witchcraft, right? Keep going.
And sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord.
They sold themselves, right? You gave that candy, you just sold your child for candy. Y'all get that? So whatever is sweet to your child, that's what you just sold them for. Right? You just sold them for candy. That's what their mind is still telling them. They don't, like I said, these certain things is subconscious that you don't see. So now you just said, okay, now don't go for something that's hard. Don't struggle. Ask strangers for something sweet. So now they all expect things sweet from everybody else. They expect good things. Sweet means something that's like what's candy? It tastes good, but it's not good for you. That's why you got, we choose bad spouses, all of that, because we look for something that's sweet to us, right? All right. Keep going.
To provoke him to anger.
So
Therefore,
is that on that? So that's the dude. They do this. They provoke the Most High to anger. You provoke the Most High to anger when you do this. When you do this, right? Okay. 1 second. Try to see how much time we got left. All right. Go to Leviticus 18-21 for me.
Leviticus 18, verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Moloch. Neither shalt thou profane thy name of thy God. I am the Lord.
So that's telling you, you should never let your child pass through the fire, through the flame for Moloch, right? You never let your children. That's what you're doing when you let them celebrate these traditions. Now, see if I got time to go on this real quick. All right. Ooh, that's a lot. Okay. I got maybe 10 more minutes. Are y'all ready to get out of here? The kids ready to go. I mean, all right, let's try to go through it quick. All right. Y'all want to see a story of, y'all heard of like people that tell, that speak to the dead and can do all of these things, right? Like people that read tarot cards and all of this. Y'all heard of this, right? Do y'all know of the instance when this happened in the Bible?
Come on.
Oh, you know it, huh? I told you, man, Brock be knowing stuff, boy, I tell you. Like, he be knowing something. Where is it at? Do you know where it's at?
You talking about where is that? The familiar spirits.
There you go. You know where it's at, though?
I don't know exactly. Is it in the law? Is it in the law?
Do y'all know the story of the familiar
spirit?
spirit?
The story of the familiar spirits. I can't think about it right now.
All right. Go to 1 Samuel 28 and 3. All right, I promise y'all. We're going to go through this quick, all right?
Okay. 1 Samuel 28, verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented
him. You know, Samuel was the prophet. He was telling people what God said and what was coming to pass, right? So Israel was mourning him. Keep going.
And buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land.
So the people that had familiar spirits, it was a law to get rid of the people that had familiar spirits, right? He had gotten rid of all of them. So now Saul, he don't know what to do. So Samuel is dead. Keep going.
Verse 4, and the Palestinians gathered themselves
Philistines.
And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came to pitch in Shunem, and Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa.
So, because anybody knows when Saul was alive, the main enemy he fought was the Philistines. Anybody know what Philistines are today?
Come.
What are they?
So-called South Africans. But that's Canaan. The Philistines is...
I don't know exactly, but they Africans.
I got mixed up with the Canaanites.
They Africans.
Yeah,
they Africans, right? Philistines, they was Africans. All right, keep going.
And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled.
So he's scared, because y'all know right before Samuel died, God told him that he was taking the kingdom from him because he sinned against him. He didn't follow his commandment, what God told him to do. So he said, so now he's scared. Samuel's dead. He ain't got nobody to tell him what's going on anymore. Right? Keep going.
And when Saul inquired of the Most High, the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by the prophets.
All right. Which verse you at?
Verse 6.
Okay. So he didn't answer him because, God, he would come to speak to you with dreams. The Urim, nobody know what the Urim is. I know you know.
Thanks a lot, sir.
I know you probably know too.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. It's on the wall somewhere. The Urim and the Thummim. Go ahead, Margola. Dice. There's a Urim and a Thummim. Dice right there, Levi. So what the Levites would do, they would roll dice, and what the dice said, that's what the Most High wanted you to do. That's how they would get, things they needed to, with whatever the Most High wanted to do. It was with the Urim and the Thummim, right? So, nor by the prophets. There was other prophets there, but they weren't told anything. Samuel was the lead prophet. There was other prophets that he taught as well, because somebody came after him as well. So I think it was Nathan, I believe. Might have been Nathan, if I'm not mistaken. He was the next head prophet. Anyway, keep reading.
Verse 7, then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor.
Okay, keep going.
And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment. And he went and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
So he just said, basically came, he took off his kingly clothes, and he came in his regular clothes, citizens. Brought 2 men with him, he disguised himself. Came up to this woman or whatever, because, they don't have, we don't have TV. So, not everybody knows, how the king really looks like that. You get what I'm saying? So it's easy for him to take off some of his clothes and do something like that. We don't, right now, if you see Joe Biden, you know what he looks like. You see him on TV. But if you think we don't have TV, you only might see a picture, a painting, but you know how that could be. So it's not the same. People don't really know how the king looks like how we do now. Keep going.
And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done. Okay. Thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die?
So they was killing the people that have familiar spirits. And I was told one time, do you know why God doesn't want people to have familiar? He doesn't want, the real reason why he doesn't want people to go around saying they got familiar spirits. Okay. What I was told was because it's not about them speaking the truth and doing that. It's about them hustling Israel. Because they're going to use their familiar spirits to hustle Israelites. Take their money. Go ahead.
Hey, is that kind of like a fake Israelite group of like the so-called black, blackly black person trying to just, jug on, like black people that's really trying to seek out, true knowledge,
God, that's what they're trying to do, seek out true knowledge. They're trying to get something more, because everybody black realize that there is a God. So they want to find somebody that can speak with God in their mind. And that's what somebody that does, these types of, say that they got familiar spirits. So they want to go speak with those people so they can get like a channeling with God, right? Be an oracle. Somebody that's an oracle, right? All right, keep going.
Verse 10, and Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing.
All right, keep going.
Then said the woman, whom shall I bring unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel.
He wanted to talk to Samuel. Keep going.
And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul.
So this not even the woman. This is she's seeing she's knowing that we're gonna get more of the story, but this is the familiar spirits. So the familiar spirits are demons that were there whenever these things happen. So the demons know who you are. So they telling her that this is Saul. This ain't a regular commoner. All right, keep going.
Verse 13, and the king said unto her, Be not afraid for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth.
He saw powers coming out of the earth. Right? Keep going.
And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man coming up, and he is covered with a mantle.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself.
So Saul, he thinking it is Samuel, but he saw powers. These are demons and angels coming out the earth. That's what the woman saw, right? That's what he said. Like like Jacob's ladder. There's men coming in and out. I mean, not men, but angels coming in and out, getting the words of what God wanted them to do, coming out for the Lord, is getting back reports. Saw powers coming in and out. Keep going.
Verse 15, and Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God has departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets, neither by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. So
he don't know what to do now. He don't know which move he should make, right? He's not getting no answer from nowhere. Keep going.
Then said Samuel, Wherefore then thou doest as of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is becoming thine enemy.
He said, why you asking me? The Lord, he left you because he committed a sin. Y'all know the sin that Samuel committed? Nobody know the sin that Samuel committed. Crickets in here. You don't know? All right. I mean, not Samuel. Saul.
Okay, Saul.
Saul. You may know the sin that Saul committed.
Come.
All right, go ahead, Michael. That.
Hey, was it that he was hating on his brother? You know what I mean? Like, David.
That was the sin after that, but no, it was the sin before that. The original sin. Okay. You know what it is, bro?
Wait, what did he say? Something about King David?
No, that's what Michael said.
Okay. What it is a commandment that the Lord gave a specific commandment. He didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think what exactly the commandment is about. Something about war.
It was war. Yep.
Right.
Y'all know that fake Jew? That everybody loves so much. Not us, of course, but the world loves so much. There was a time back in we was coming out of this was an Exodus. We was coming out of Egypt, and they were going around killing us, right? They was killing the children that was running out of Egypt. They wouldn't let us pass. We were just trying to keep going, come through and pass, but they wouldn't let us. So they was when we did go, because we had to go through, they was killing the women and the children, the elderly, whoever's, like if you have like a whole thing of people, it's going to be people that's stronger, they're going to be in the front of the line, and the weak are going to be in the back. They were killing our women and children and elderly in the back while we was running from our lives out of Egypt. And God said, go kill them, slaughter them, don't leave anything there. And then what he did, he kept some of them, he kept the animals, he kept whatever was enriching to him, he kept them. And then he even let their king live, King Agag. If you read in Esther, the book of Esther, and you see that there was a time they was coming, he was trying to come and kill the Israelites. The person that was in power to kill us, that king wasn't the same tribe, wasn't the same people. But that man, he was an Agagite from King Agag that Saul let live. and he got put in a position to come and kill all the Israelites. Now, of course, God prevented it, but he was in a position to have all the Israelites killed. That same person's seed. So now because of that, he took the kingdom from Saul, and that's why he's not getting any word from the prophets, anything. All right, keep going.
Verse 17. And the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me. For the Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David.
So rent means ripped. He tore it out of his head and given it to David. Keep going.
Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day.
He's supposed to kill all them Amalekites. But he let them live. Keep going.
Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into thy hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel to the hand of the Philistines.
So, everybody don't know, Saul, Jonathan was killed, which was, David's best friend. He was killed. Then Saul fell on his sword, committed suicide, basically, because he didn't want to die to the Philistines. He said, basically, it's better for me to die this way than to know what them bone-eating Africans are going to do to me. So that's why all his children died, all his boys died. Keep going.
Then Saul fell straightway all along on the earth and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel. And there were no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all day, nor all the night. And the woman came unto Saul and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, Behold, thy handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in my hand, and have hearkened unto thy words, which thou speakest unto me. Now therefore I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thy handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat, that thou mayest have strength when thou goest on thy way.
So now she still was treating him, good and all of that, She just fed him and all of that. He didn't even want to eat because he got, can you imagine being that terrified? You just can't even eat. He got what he wanted. He wanted that familiar spirit to speak to him, right? He said, you're going to die. Tomorrow, you and your son's going to be with me. Well, boy, I don't want to ever hear that. Come on. You about to die, and all your sons going to be with me because you didn't kill somebody who was killing your people. You grew soft, right? All right. Any other questions? Anything anybody want to bring out? All right. With that, pass the class over to Prison Officer Barack Yahanna. She go on the screen right here.
The water for that preach and prophet. Excellent class tonight. It's the I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We're the I.S.U.P.K. started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They'll be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she may get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, coming out of Numbers 18:21. Malachi 3:8-10 means 10th in Hebrew. My Asherah,
Tenth of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Also have a priest fund. Is a free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you will like. Upholding convocations. It's Hanukkah. It's coming up on November 25th, the Feast of Dedication. Like if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, that includes boots, shirts, pants, headband, scarf, and get in contact with your camp leader for the address of the camp. And with that, Majum, we salute the teacher, Majum Shabbat, Amajum, Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Now the ladies, we're going to salute. Awesome. All right. Yahweh, Shema, Alataba Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Select something to rock first.
Oh,
we gotta do
Barak.
we ain't gotta do the Maj Shabbat, the Maj.
Okay, Salakia. Maj Shabbat, Amajum, Barak, Yahweh Shema, Alatah, Yahweh Shabbat.
Yahweh Shema, Alatah, Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
With that, we're going to dismiss class.